had a flipping dude who did all the flips, and like I was a good athlete, so I thought I could do everything they could do. But that was one time when I was like, nah, you got it. You're the flipper. You can't do this other stuff, but you are the flipper.
Welcome to Highly Questionable. There is Dominique, not Flipper Foxworth, Israel Gutierrez. Let's talk about this Super Bowl.
I can run, I can jump, catch, but I ain't flipping.
I definitely have pulled a hamstring before doing a front handspring.
So you the flipper?
How do you make sense of the Bucs embarrassing the Chiefs?
All right, I did the Right Time podcast with Dominique Foxworth on Thursday, and we talked about it. We were picking Mahomes because you don't pick against Mahomes, but we acknowledged at the time Kansas City showing up with that offensive line would probably be a disqualifying factor if it was anybody other than Patrick Mahomes. And then after the game started, I sent a tweet that said it. Chiefs out there with 5 dudes who won a pie eating contest, and we still out here picking Mahomes. And we were wrong on that one. They had to put Mike Remmers at left tackle. You know who Mike Remmers is? The dude who should have presented Von Miller with a Super Bowl MVP, because Von Miller got the Super Bowl MVP running through Mike Remmers. Look, I get it. Today is Tom Brady Day on this network. Everybody is on top of saying how this is what makes Tom Brady the greatest team athlete in sports or some other nonsense that's obviously and absolutely not true. What this really came down to, Tampa whipped
mine. That's not what's going to happen. The narrative is going to be he played Tom Brady twice in the playoffs and took 2 L's.
No, they'll remember it if they want to, because everything about the sports discourse is about if you want to. Now, when a generation of kids grows up and they becomes the one who are the writers, and Patrick Mahomes was the one that they had the poster of up on the wall, then they'll start giving the caveats for what happened in this game. But as of right now, our express core is primarily comprised of middle-aged white dudes. And middle-aged white dudes love nothing more than to watch another middle-aged white dude out here doing something even halfway athletic. They are living through that. Does Tom Brady have anything in common with them? Hell no, but he is them right now when he's out there doing it, right? There's going to be so, if it wasn't a pandemic, it'd be so many middle-aged white dudes out here right now trying to be all-time quarterback outside, because if Tom Brady can still do it, they can do it. They'd be rounding up kids and being like, hey, kids, you want to come out here and run some routes?
You guys remember, I just remember this clear as day after the first one where he said, I think it was to Drew Bledsoe, he was like, we did it. And he seemed so excited. And that to me at that moment, I said, wow, this guy is the perfect picture of an underdog. There cannot be a better underdog than Tom Brady. Fast forward 21 years, and all of a sudden, this guy is the greatest of all time. I mean, he's a 6th-round pick, Bo. Come on.
What the hell makes it? What the hell makes it? A 6th-round pick out of what? Michigan, right? Like, I like this dude came out of junior college or somewhere and they got dropped up off a truck and then wound up there. Before he wound up in the league, he balled out in the Orange Bowl. Like, I don't think they won that game, but the dude didn't get the time that he should have gotten there. But just because you used to not be that good does not make you an underdog. He had all the advantages in the world. The only reason he wasn't that good then is because he wasn't that good.
Well, I mean, technically he was an underdog in that Super Bowl, and they came back and won. So their team was the underdog.
Who was the dude on the other side? The guy that used to sack groceries. That right there. You want to talk about an underdog story? Like, you could make a movie about the story of Kurt Warner. There would be nothing more boring than a movie about Tom Brady. Like, you want to get on this greatest of all time? Okay, fine. I'm not here for this underdog stuff about dudes who just waited a long time to get good.
Up next on HQ.
All I'm saying is the quarterback does not win this unless y'all about to get out here and say, man, all those Super Bowl wins, but Brady will never get a chance to even it up with Nick Foles.
Can Tom Brady, the lovable underdog, keep winning Super Bowls?
All right, Tom Brady next season will be 44. I don't know what that means, right? Like, in terms of how good a football player he is going to be, I don't really know. There has been a decline for Tom Brady. Like, we're not going to pretend like he's the same player that he was 10 years ago, but he's still a good enough player that you can win a Super Bowl with him. So what happens in Tampa next year where they got all these free agents? We don't know how many of them are going to wind up staying, right? How deep the team around Tom Brady is matters. It really, really does. But the dude's 43 years old and still playing football at all. Forget about how well he's playing. Like, I think George Blanda, when he was playing at this age, was basically just a full-time kicker. In terms of longevity, we've never seen anything like this. It was now 6 years and change ago that game in Kansas City happened, and I thought he was finished. What's it, 4 Super Bowl wins since then. I think it's 4 Super Bowl wins since then. So I don't know what he can or cannot do. Period.
Yeah. The saying "Father Time is undefeated," that is a true statement unless you're talking about Tom Brady, because you're right. He's not as good as he was 10 years ago, but he's better than he was 15 years ago. Like, there's more pressure on him. They ask him to do more. He is more responsible for offensive production than he was in those early championship runs with the Patriots. So I'm not sure that I can wrap my head around them not being able to build a winner around him, because as easy as it got to get guys to want to come to New England when Tom Brady was at his best, I imagine it's going to be just as easy, if not easier, now that he's won a championship down in Tampa and you can play for Bruce Arians, a guy who does not make you miserable, as everyone has said that Bill Belichick does. So, like, you can have fun. You can go down and compete for a championship. Which old guy who is chasing a title isn't going to do that? And which one of these guys, free agents that they have that are going to leave or could leave, is going to choose to take less money to stay there because they've already made so much and they get another chance to play in games that matter? So I would be surprised, frankly, if the Bucs were not in contention late in next season. So that, and the last thing I'll point out is one of the things I thought that the Chiefs had over the Bucs was like some trust and a relationship built up. But I'd forgotten that all these guys had a 10-plus year relationship with Tom Brady. It's just that Tom Brady ain't know them. They've been watching Tom Brady their whole lives. They trust Tom Brady more than they trust some family members, because they've seen Tom Brady come through time after time. So when you show up at your workplace and you know that the guy that you work with is one of the best, if not the best, doing it, that's going to elevate your level of play. And we saw that happen throughout the course of this season.
It's now become perfectly clear to me that the most shocking part of Tom Brady's career is the 9 years that he didn't win one. And for that, heck, put Eli in the Hall of Fame twice for that, because that's just absolutely ridiculous. And you look at, and, you talk about the Belichick versus Brady comparison and all that. It is quite possible and very likely that Brady just picked up a lot of Belichick, added to his sort of mental and game, and just carried that with him over there. When he said we're coming back next year, I was shocked that he would commit even to the Tampa Bay Bucs, because I believe Tom Brady can do this with any team, because he will get, a Gronk to come with him and Antonio Brown to come with him and, be in line with the head coach and make things like this happen. So can he continue to win them? Of course. It's like I was saying earlier. He probably goes into a season and says, hey, you guys eventually over the course of the season keep me protected. I guarantee you we're going to win at the highest of levels. And I didn't see anything yesterday. Heck, yesterday was it the most dominant performance by Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, or by a Tom Brady team in the Super Bowl? It had to be a conversation at least. You had to at least look it up, right? So why would he stop right now?
Yeah, by a Tom Brady team. I feel like we need to specify this part and start talking about team, because we keep talking about quarterbacks. Think about this. These are the quarterbacks that Tom Brady's teams have vanquished in the Super Bowl. Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer. Donovan McNabb, very, very, very good quarterback. Jake Delhomme, he's got to throw it out there because it actually happened, right? Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan in the year that he won an MVP, right? We've seen this one with Mahomes and Jared Goff. Who did he lose Super Bowls to? Twice Eli Manning and once Nick Foles. All I'm saying is the quarterback does not win this unless y'all about to get out here and say, man, all those Super Bowl wins, but Brady will never get a chance to even it up with Nick Foles. Wow.
Just two regular dudes.
He is 6'7", 290.
He dwarfs every other human being. But go ahead and put up the picture of Shaq with Yao Ming and see how that one worked out for Shaq.
No, where's that? Have you ever seen that photo? I think it is Shaq, Barkley, and The Rock.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
That's the one.
Wow.
Yeah, no. These dudes are huge.
Oh,
wow.
That's not fair.
I guess Kevin Hart's been short long enough that he's not ashamed of those sorts of things. Damn.
Oh, he make JJ look like a kid.
Hulu has live.
Do you question if Byron Leftwich should have roasted this guy?
All right, so I don't think that I look like Dominique, and Dominique does not think that he looks like me, but I had plenty of times where Dominique was on television and people would say, oh, that looks like Bomani. With that in mind,
going into the game, what was your number one goal on the defensive side to shut Mahomes down, shut that high-powered offensive down? What was your guys' number one goal going into that game?
Shut Mahomes down.
You got the wrong guy.
I think you got the wrong guy. I had nothing to do with that. That was Todd.
They don't even look alike. They just have similar skin tone. That is all it is. But shout out to Bruce Arians for putting together a staff where somebody can get their black people mixed up, not realizing they were talking to the offensive coordinator when they meant to talk to the defensive coordinator. Man, come on, man.
I mean, I don't even know if I would say that their skin tones are similar. I guess they're similar-ish, but they're not even close. Like, there really is no excuse for this to be at a game. And I know all types of media come out for this, but weren't there other questions before that tipped you off? Like, let alone the fact that you just don't know
that was
what's
the best
going
part.
on.
It was the first question.
No!
Came off the rip with it.
So that means they just introduced them. Don't they normally introduce people at the get up? They was like, hey, and so my man heard them say, this is offensive coordinator BYRON LEFTWICH, and he was like, no, they got it wrong. They done mixed them up. I'm going to show them
he was
how
proud
well
of
I know.
himself.
And he won. Like, he is celebrating. He's happy. First question off the bat. It's like, man, now you got me thinking about this nonsense. Come on.
Gosh.
I love the way, like, he could have gotten angry. He could have played it off. He could have gotten out of answering all those questions, but he just kind of rolled with it. Kind of reminds me of, like, when I first started doing Around the Horn, when people started calling me J.A. all the time, walking down the street. And I was like,
Oh, wow. You got that too?
All over the internet and sports TV, more Super Bowl coverage.
Oh, man. Yes, it's not going to stop, at least until Carson Wentz get traded. Now, we want to take you guys back to November when the Bucs played against the Chiefs. I sure wish I'd remembered that the Bucs hadn't had a bye week yet. This game wouldn't have influenced my pick so much. There's Tyreek Hill. He hits Antoine Winfield Jr. with the peace sign, which Antoine Winfield Jr. clearly remembers. How do I know he remembers it? Let's see. Dominique, are you intrigued?
I mean, my personal favorite part of that was that he squatted down and waited because he wanted to make sure that Tyreek Hill caught that. That was not for the fans. That was not for his friends. That was not for the media. That was for one man. He made sure that he saw it. And Bo, in their defense, I'm going to call you out a little bit because you spend a lot of time on social media essentially dunking on randos, giving them the peace sign.
Yeah.
That's the same sort of thing, right?
I don't go back in time. In fact, today I had some guy get mad at me about some Steph Curry take I had months ago, and let's just say I did not take it nearly as well as Tyreek Hill did. Izzy, are you intrigued?
Very much so. My first thought at the time was, oh, how nice. He's just wishing him love and peace because as I agreed with Pablo where he said on Twitter, the sign means peace. But then I started thinking about, obviously that's what happened in the past. And then I got angry that Winfield did not spend the entirety of these 2 weeks practicing the backflip because that would have been the move. It might not have even gotten you a penalty, but if you can do both, even great. But the backflip right in front of him after breaking that would have been perfect.
I feel like if he had lived this long and hadn't been doing backflips, he wasn't going to get that right in 2 weeks. That would have been Antoine Winfield out for the Super Bowl with a cervical vertebrae fracture.
We'd all been talking about what was he doing in practice?
This is much easier.
All right, that's the show. Check out Dominique Foxworth at theundefeated.com. He's got a great story on Eric Bieniemy, even though they lost. And Izzy Gutierrez, check him out on NBA coverage and more.
Peace.
That's because they lost. Don't mean you can't read.
True.